Hey, greetings, friends. Jacque Hoard here, and welcome to Trenton 365 and one of my podcasts. There's a lot of things that are going on. The best thing for you to do is to find me on social media at Trenton and the numbers 365. There you can see what I'm doing with bicycling and pedestrian access and the soon to be coming ADA compliancy for this region. In addition to that, you can see artists that I spend time with and events that I'm hosting and things of that nature. You can also always hear me interviewing people like I'm going to be bringing on to you in a very short amount of time. But most importantly, grab yourself a writing utensil and a piece of paper. Take down some notes. At the very least, take down an email address or take down some of the contact information, because 30 minutes or so is not enough time for you to fully engage with the audience or engage with me. But it is an awesome step for you and I and others to connect at a later time, because in the end, it's all about building a better community for everyone. And for that to happen, we need to have as many people as possible be a part of the process and for people to be working together. So with that being said, I have to do a little swing off into the woods, because Library Boxes of Trenton is a literacy program that I started many years ago. It was in an effort, a communal effort, because there was a need in the community because several of the libraries had closed in Trenton. So I had this great idea of creating a library box. Now, this library box is an initiative just started as grassroots. There was no money or anything behind it. The idea was just getting reading materials into the hands of people in the community because we didn't have any libraries, which was the concern. Verlina Reynolds-Jackson at the time was serving on the council of the city of Trenton. And she was so awesome in making sure that Library Boxes of Trenton received a proclamation from the city of Trenton, and therefore is in the history books of the city of Trenton and the efforts that are being done with that. I say that as a lead in to the work that Verlina Reynolds-Jackson has been doing for many years, for as long as I've been doing civic engagement work. I say this because I do not support publicly or endorse any candidates for any office. That's not what I do as an independent media person. But what I do is support the human beings who are doing the work. I say that because Verlina called me earlier this week and said, "Hey, Jacque, I really want to talk to you and your audience about something." And I was like, "No problem. You got it." With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to just take a couple minutes in your own little way and give Verlina Reynolds-Jackson a round of applause in your own way, and I will. And Miss Sandra Toussaint, who we met many years ago, pre-pandemic, pre all this here, Jacque, all that. And now we're reconnected by Verlina Reynolds-Jackson because of the United Way of Greater Mercer County. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me. And I want to say, it didn't dawn on me before this interview, but it dawns on me now. Thank you during Women's Month, Women's History and Recognition Month. Thank you for what you have done and the women that have come before you, because there was a time when we couldn't have this conversation. Definitely not as people of color, but definitely not as men and women coming together. So thank you all for the work that you're doing, the support systems that you have, and for what has gone before you. And I hope that we can encourage more people to get behind you all. Verlina, please jump in, and I'd like for you to just talk a little bit about what you've been up to, because we got to talk about the business side, the work stuff that you do. And I want you to talk about, and I want you to introduce Sandra, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about what's going on at the United Way of Greater Mercer County.
So that's what brings us here. So I am a new member to the United Way board because of Sandra Toussaint. We served on the Princeton YWCA board together, and she saw something in me a long time ago. We met some years before, pre-COVID, and we kept saying, we're going to work together. We're going to work together. Well, she found a way for us to get together. And I love the United Way because of the services that they provide for the people. So, you know, Jacque, and a lot of people know, I'm a social worker at heart. I am a bridge connector, a people connector. I am breaking down barriers to get people resources. That's how I got into politics. The public policy side is what I try to figure out. How do we make sure we get resources to everyone? So the United Way does just that. And so I am so proud to be working with Sandra Toussaint as the president and CEO of the United Way Greater Mercer County. And they have a program that right now we're in tax season. It's the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. So we're in tax season now, and she has an opportunity to help people complete their income taxes free of charge, in multiple languages, multiple locations. And so I said, we need to get this message out, similar to how we did for the Anchor program. I felt like we just didn't connect with people locally. And I said, Jacque has the ear of the people. So I'm going to call him and see how we can get this word out. And then the network can spread it, right? You're a very, very trusted voice. And so we want to be able to make sure we get, access to this information. We know that the child tax care credit has increased this year. We know that next year we also have plans to increase it, but this is helping people. This $500, this could be groceries because they're through the roof. It could be your utility bills. It could be your car payment. It may be a down payment for summer camp that's coming up. Like there is a need for this money right now. And so we want to make sure that people, fill it out, that they don't feel like, oh, it's so complicated, I'm just not going to do it. And so the United Way does an excellent job at that. And not just the VITA program, but they have other services too. But I'm not going to, I think Sandra does a much better job, but that's our connection. And I want her to actually, talk about it a little bit too. So, Madam President, would you please come on and tell us a little bit more about the VITA program?
Well done, Verlina. Well done.
I love it. I love it. First, thank you so very much, Verlina. Thank you so very much, Jacque. I'm so glad that we reconnected. It's been too long. And Verlina, yes, I was stalking you for years. So I'm glad that we're able to partner. This is an exciting time for United Way of Greater Mercer County. And what I mean by that is there's an opportunity to get dollars back into the pockets of hard-earned wage workers, right? And so you heard about the VITA program, but let me just give you a little bit more details. Essentially, anyone who makes $65,000 or less can get their taxes done for free. And I'll repeat that again, for free, instead of going to a paid preparer, right? And we actually survey our clients. So when they come in at a number of locations to get their taxes done, we find out, what do you use those dollars for, right? And I have to tell you, they're not going to Disney World, they're not buying a flat screen TV, right? And so it's the necessities of life. It's filling the gaps in a bare bones family budget. We all are feeling the pinch every time we go to the supermarket. The cost of food has gone up. We know what it is to buy a gallon of milk, to buy eggs. Eggs is almost $9 now, if it's not $9 plus, seriously. So for families that we see, those refunds are really making a difference. And I have to tell you, since we started, I just checked back with my team. We are now at around 600 or so refunds that have already been completed, and we have a way to go until the filing season deadline. And I have to tell you, United Way of Greater Mercer County, we do taxes all year long. So if you're thinking, oh my goodness, April 15, I'm not going to make it, still get in touch with us. We do have a website, uwgmc.org. Again, I'll just repeat it again. It's uwgmc.org. And if you can't remember that, here's an easier way. Just dial 211. And I'd like to think 211, I describe it as 911 meets 411, right? And it's really a resource hotline, social service hotline, health and human service hotline that United Ways help to co-found and continues to support. So call 211 or access our website to make appointment, or even get the schedule for walk-in sites. Because our office, believe it or not, it's so important. Our office actually serves as a tax site. So I encourage individuals to get their taxes done for free. And for those of you who are like, what was the impact last year? How much did you do? Well, let me tell you, last year, if my memory serves me correctly, I know I got a lot of things in the brain, we did over 1,600 returns.
Wow.
That's over 1.7 million back into the Mercer County economic community, right? That's 1.7 million that made a difference. Again, this is a great program. I encourage all to take advantage of it. I encourage all to spread the word. And in terms of who we're seeing, I'll tell you who we're seeing. We're seeing seniors. We see a lot of female head of households, and certainly singles. And so that gives you a sense of who we're seeing and who's coming through the doors, right? And we certainly see the Spanish speaking community. We work with volunteers. So we do this program. I would be remiss if I didn't mention our partners, right? When I talk about the work of United Way, I always say, you know what, in order for us to have an impact, in order for us to move the needles on the issues that really pulls on our heartstrings, that hurts so many of our neighbors, our family members, our coworkers, our colleagues, and then some, you need a community, you need partners. You can't do it alone. And so who we partner for the VITA program is the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Mercer County. So they're a part of the partner circle when we're talking about VITA, Salvation Army, Hamilton Library, and there's so many others, right? And so I thank our partners. It's not just United Way. There are others who are like singing the song, beating the beat, beating the drums to get the word out and to encourage others to get their taxes done. And the thing is, once you come in to get your taxes done, it doesn't just stop there. We ask you, what else do you need help with?
Right.
How can United Way or how can our program partners be helpful to you? So do you need help with health insurance? We certainly could provide assistance there. Do you need help with SNAP? We know there's been some changes regarding SNAP over the last couple of weeks or so. So do you need some assistance there? Do you need help finding out resources for your children in terms of summer camps, after school programs, and the likes? And it's really a community effort. And why we're coming together, the end goal is we want to bolster up the financial capability of Mercer County residents, right? So the more money you have in your pocket, the more you could buy for food. We know gas has gone up. You could pay for transportation, as Verlina mentioned. Make that car payment or fix that car. We know transportation is big in Mercer County, right? Pay the utility bills, right? And prescriptions, certainly we know that prescriptions, the costs have gone up, everything has gone up. And so this is why partnerships and certainly our program and others that other resources that we're able to connect to is vital. And they work together. It's like a puzzle piece that come together.
You know, you both have covered so much, and I want to tell you, thank you. I know personally, the United Way of Greater Mercer County has been coming on to WING, Trenton 365 for many, many years, talking about these services, and it's fantastic. I know several folks who have taken advantage of this program. You touched on some of the key points that I think some folks are going to want to know. How many people were impacted? You said well over 1,500 or 1,600 plus. $1.7 million were returned to folks here. And it's a free program if you make $65,000 or less. And most folks know that that's well above the median income for most residents in the city of Trenton, and probably for most of Mercer County as well. So Verlina, as an assembly person, can you talk about bridging the gap, so to speak, between the work that you do on a day-to-day basis and recognizing the local impact as well?
Absolutely. And I think, Jacque, that's it, right? When we talk about the filing your income tax, think about the number of young people. We said the disabled population, we talked about our seniors and our elderly, but we have a large young people population, 18 to 25. Sometimes or you've heard about filing of your income tax, but how do I do that? That's different. And so you do need help with that. Nobody knows how to do it. And so this is I think United Way does a great job at creating that safe space for them to be able to do it. And listen, the child tax credit is part of the funding that comes from the state. We increase that. It hasn't always been $500 per child. And then next year, we're supposed to be increasing it even more. But you have to file in order to get the benefit. And so we want to, again, get the message out there to our young people that you can file because you're working. And we have multiple families that are working that, sometimes just don't think they're eligible. And so we leave millions of dollars on the table by not simply filing filing. You worked for it, you earned it, let's get you the money back. And so I just wanted to continue to elevate that conversation as well. The SNAP benefits, that also comes from the state of New Jersey. We've increased that from $50 to $90. Of course, during COVID, it went up even more. And so, you know, although it's 95, it's nothing like it was when it was during the COVID. So we're still working those numbers out. We're still going to push for more because of the cost of everything that's gone up. And I left out transport. I said your car payment, but that $450, that $500, that could be your bus pass. You know, you're getting on the train, that's a monthly. If you're doing the River Line, that's a monthly. If you're getting going up and down the corridor, that is your pass. And so, again, it helps people stay employed. Part of the issue is, getting to work, having those funds and those resources to do it. And so, I say we trying to give back tax dollars to the taxpayer, which sometimes is difficult. When we have trusted voices with carrying this message, we're able to get it back to the community, and they say, okay, we're going to do this. And I might bring somebody with me, right? So I'm, if I bring a friend, or I'm Granny, let's go together. Grandma, let's go together. Pop, let's go together. We're going to go file our income tax. You do yours, I do mine. And so I think it's another great way to have that intergenerational partnership to be able to get those resources. And like Sandra said, we're not here just for income tax. They do a whole host of health and wellness. They do education programs. They want to be able to help the whole family to have a better quality of life. And so that's one of the beauties of this. And I know we said, go to the website, uwgmc.org, because it does have all the listings, or that 211, which I love too, Sandra. 211, they're the information of social networks, social services, and they'll be able to give you that information as well, let you know where you can go, where to call, how to sign up so that you can get money back in your pocket for your family.
You know what? You two, fantastic. Maybe you both ought to get a job in media or something like that. Fantastic on the camera.
We'll leave that to you.
Hitting all the notes.
I leave that to you.
My book, y'all can't even see my book is full up. All my check marks. You guys hit all my notes. All my notes.
Following your lead.
Sandra, I'd really like for you to talk a bit about some of the community partners where folks can go into the community and get these services. So they may have a site that's close by, that's in very close proximity to where they are, where they can get this tax service done for free.
Sure. So I mentioned earlier for VITA, so we have Salvation Army, the United Way of Greater Mercer County office, which is in Lawrenceville, certainly the Boys and Girls Club, Spruce Street, and certainly the other location that they have, and the Hamilton Public Library. We also do pop-up sites, so that's why you have to access our website, UWGMC or 211, because there are opportunities for us to do a pop-up site just because we want to get this service out into the community. I love the fact that Verlina mentioned young people, and that's something I do want to encourage young people to get their taxes done. You may be thinking, a young person, what's in it for them? Why should they do it? Well, if you have a young person who's thinking about going to college, right? The other thing that United Way of Greater Mercer County does, we help you in terms of college planning. So what does that look like? That looks like that FAFSA form, the financial aid form, right? You need to get your taxes done in order to complete the FAFSA form. And that's another incentive for young people and the families to do their tax returns. We also help with college essay writing, right? So how do you stand out? It's a very competitive process getting into college. So we also help out there. So really, like it was previously mentioned, you come in to get your taxes done, but while you're there, we're interested in you. We're asking questions. What else do you need help with? How can United Way of Greater Mercer County be much more supportive? What are other resources we can connect you with? And so these are resources that we have in-house or through our program partners, right? And we have quite a few program partners, whether it's program partners on the health insurance side, because we're in a number of locations there. If it's program partners for VITA, if it's program partners for books, like how do we get books into the community, right? And so what are the locations there? And so you can access that information, again, through our website, uwgmc.org.
You guys are fantastic. I'm all excited. You know, Verlina, I'm not going to let you go away without you talking a little bit of your day job and some of the work that is going on to encourage people of color, especially Black folks and especially women, to be more engaged civically in the process of voting. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for, but get yourself out there and vote. Please, can you just touch on that slightly?
You know, I often say, follow your passion. And that's what Sandra says too. She says, follow your passion. That leads you to equity and access. And, you know, whether you're passionate about mental health, education, business, higher ed, you know, if you're a cancer advocate, if you advocate for better education, I don't know, Crohn's or colitis, or, you know, better vision care, better dental care, whatever your passion is, you know, public policy touches everything, everything from the hair salon to the nail salon, gas stations, tanning salons, everything. Government regulates everything. And so I just encourage people to think about that and encourage them to cast your votes. In New Jersey, we're blessed because we have one every 6 months. Every 6 months, you have an opportunity, but it keeps you focused on what's important to you. So maybe when it's time, you know, you're looking to see, you have the questions to ask. People say, well, I don't know what to ask. Well, what are you passionate about? One of my passions is mental health. I'm going to be doing some work around mental health. My passion right now is, you know, we're in this season to get funds back in people's pocket, affordability for the state of New Jersey. So that's why United Way is passionate for me. So I want people to find what their passion is so that they can make sure people that get in positions of power have their passion at heart. They can't say, you know, oh, I didn't know about polling locations being moved. You know, if you're passionate about making sure we have access to polls, and we want access to languages, right? We're not all monolithic. We speak various languages. So we want to be able to get this information in different languages. So I think it's up to us as a community to continue to push that. If you're passionate about police reform, you know, I think we have a great opportunity to strengthen our community policing department. I think, you know, we have our emergency response teams. This is one way that the United Way is awesome at, you know, when we come into these disastrous areas, how organizations come together. The state of New Jersey has an awesome emergency assistance department, but it also trickles back down to the locals. So it starts out at the state, it goes to the county, and then it goes to locals, but it's people like the United Way that come in to help. You know, when you don't have the food on the first night, when you're looking for a place to stay, when you the next day, when you're looking to see how can I be of help, or who else needs help. So I think we have to, again, go to your passion, go to your passion, what you're passionate about, and make sure that those candidates align with you and you speak up about it. You know, we have to not be shy, speak up and speak out. I'm interested in seeing how we're going to keep mental health services in the schools, school resource officers. I mean, youth community services. And that was a very important program that helps students be able to deal with stress, trauma during the school day. But guess what? The weekends, they come and there's a stressful time. And so we want to make sure that those dollars stay there. In true story, Jacque, they tried to take those dollars away. And the community came out. And this is not the first time. This is the third time they tried to take the youth services away. This is the third time. But the community came out strong and said, no, do not take these dollars away. We understand other schools want them, Let them get their own pot of money. We need to stay focused on our youth, because there is the death rate for young Black males is through the roof. And we want to make sure we continue to concentrate on our youth where there's the most trauma. And so again, that's your passion coming out. That's how we get collectively, we come together. And the governor said, I will not approve this dismantling of this program, figure out another way. And so it stayed for another year, but we have to keep our eye on the ball. So it's about our passion, lining it up with the people that we're electing to represent us, and all working together. Because it's not that we all agree all the time, but we have to come to a compromise so that we can improve the quality of life for everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I think you nailed that. I may be able to pull that out and drop that someplace else later on. Maybe
I gotta come back. I gotta come back.
Maybe on the Bridge to Vote page. Sandra Toussaint, I want to make sure that I give you the final word, because this is focused around the organization that you are leading as the president and CEO. Please, final word about the United Way of Greater Mercer County.
Well, Verlina said it's about the passion. So it's about my passion. It's about the organization's passion, right? We're working in the front lines. We're getting others involved. Why? Because we're passionate about filling community gaps. And that's real. And so there are some serious gaps when you're talking about economic challenges. There's some serious gap when you're talking about access to health and wellness resources. There's some serious gaps as you talk about education, right? And so this is something that I've always been passionate about, which is why I'm at United Way of Greater Mercer County. This is why we line up our strategies, our programs, our initiative. Everything is clear in the direction that we're headed, right? Which is filling community gaps. Why? Because we're passionate. So please access our website. Please access all these free services. Get in touch with us.
Fantastic, ladies. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I will be in touch. I look forward to us sitting down again, talking more about United Way of Greater Mercer County. The website is umgmc.org. Verlina Reynolds-Jackson, Sandra Toussaint, thank you so much. And folks, remember, it's always about justice, peace, and humility.